come a little closer and lend me your ears. Don't worry, you keep yours while I keep mine.
In each episode, we'll dig into the major stories, uncover the truth, and retrieve gems from Yada's blog.
We'll discuss what's right, bark about what's wrong, wag our tails at the thrill of discovery, and take you on adventures through the exciting world we live in today. So, fasten your curiosity leash and get ready. Right then, coming to you with another episode of the Yada's Vlog on a Blog. Tomorrow's news, disseminated today. Let's dive in.
Are you ready to disseminate there, Captain Kirk?
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad. We're going to start with Miss Hawaiianese Cherokee. So I just love these. She obviously flunked humanity. She cannot imagine why someone would ask her to donate $1. Did I do something nice for humanity? No. That's other people's responsibility. My responsibility is to sit here and hold up this sign that I didn't even write because the printing is a font from AI. Yeah. So I had AI write my sign. And I want to say it's freaking insane that someone would ask me to make a donation to charity. And even in the situation where the corporation is saying, I'll match 2 to 1. Anything you want to give. You want to give $1, then we'll donate 3. But no way you could bother me to ask me to make a contribution to somebody else. Oh my God, no. I'm entitled. I got my Hawaiian Cherokee paid education, my state-funded healthcare. I have my food stamps. I have my entitlements. But don't you dare ask me to give something back. Yeah, I wonder what's wrong with our country. Sir?
All right.
Well, actually, something you like to add, or is that you just saying how in the world we keep hearing?
What happened to people who cared? They just don't. They don't give a damn about anybody.
Nope. It's all about me, myself, and I.
I would leave the corners of my fields, Craig, if I had fields, but I have no fields, so therefore I'm not entitled to obligated to give anything. Right?
Do you leave a corner of your lawn unmowed for the animals?
At the very least, a corner is unmowed. Yes.
Yes. There you go. See,
I mow around the thistle so that it blooms and the monarch butterflies have something to eat on all year.
You are a charitable man.
Yes.
Actually, speaking of a charitable man, what percentage of your time, how much of your time do you donate to conveying Yahweh's message and helping other people do it?
How much time?
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have asked that. I probably should not have asked that question, but it's
you don't want to raise now.
Enormous volunteer work, right?
Sure. I enjoy it. I don't think of it as any burden whatsoever. You know what I mean?
No, but you shouldn't, and you really shouldn't, and nor should she. Your life is dedicated to making other lives better.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. That's a lesson this generation hasn't learned. They don't even know how to make their own lives better through work. How in the hell they're going to make somebody else's lives better? They're dependents. They become parasites. Parasites don't give, they take.
Yeah, there's.
You know, when I heard this, my first response was, social media. It's got 1 chance in 100 of being right. It's social media, right? And because here's a guy that's going on. It's beautiful studio there he has there. It's a
outside of a gas station,
a gas station on one side, phone line or electric line on the other. And he's dressed up special for the occasion. So I figured, this just has to be first-rate information, right? Breaking news. And it's actually Daddy Rant. So you know that it's a credible source, right? So here we are. And, so I said, all right, maybe it's true. It's got a 1 chance in 100 chance of being true. So I did this thing called an online check. I put a question into the query bar. I'm using Brave as a browser. And guess what it came back with? Yep. Trump did leave. The Now, the first time I put it in, it said that Trump left the G7 meeting in Canada in a twit. It said, okay.
That's old news.
Come forward a year here now. It's currently in France. How about the 2026 G7 summit meeting? Did Trump leave a day early and cancel all of his meetings pursuant to issues related to Israel and Iran? And guess what? He did. So he went in for a day, left, made a fool for himself during that day, left, and he left because there is a major concern in his mind between Iran and Israel. Now, can you imagine if Iran decides that they're going to go after Israel again? Because Israel has been belligerent and said, no, we're not removing our troops from Lebanon. We're not leaving Gaza. In Syria, the wars continue. We're an independent country. You can't tell us what to do. If that derails Trump's surrender, and he has to surrender again, what do you think his response is going to be to Israel?
He's going to heal.
Oh, already does. But
yes.
This being the case, this could be really catastrophic. So we'll have to see what develops through the day and what Trump has to post. But yes, he left the G7 meetings after talking about how wonderful the Iranians were. He said, I had no interest ever in regime change, which is the first thing that he said he was trying to accomplish. So he obviously has a short-term memory issue. But he said, oh, no, they're really bright. Oh, they're great negotiators. Just love them. I have total respect for them. After making another fool of himself.
Does no one have a least? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go to our next post because there's a lot.
Kirk and I were talking about this earlier. I was watching what they purport to be a live press conference from the G7, and Trump was just talking with Modi like less than an hour ago. At this press conference. So I'm like, when did he leave? Did he come back? I was really confused by this one.
Yeah, I am too, because as I said, I Googled it and I found 3 articles that affirmed that he did it. So it wasn't just the AI claiming he did it, but there were multiple articles claiming the same thing, that he left and he canceled specific meetings. But if he's sitting down with Modi, then he is still there, and maybe he left to resolve a problem and he told Netanyahu, you're an effing idiot, sit down and shut up, and you're embarrassing me and the rest of the world. And that was it. Well, it's
a lot of media reporting.
Interesting time. Now you can play this clip because it's a really short clip. He's kind of funny.
Trump has got to be the first president who spent $30 billion to win the same war 30 times and then paid the loser $300 billion for the ceasefire. The art of the deal. Trump has got to be the first.
Facts is facts.
Facts are facts. Pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? Pretty much sums it up. So I give the guy in the tie-dye yellow shirt props.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Another one that dresses for his program.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I'm here to give fashion advice. That's it's important that you realize.
I'm trying the tropics. You got to look topical.
Yeah. He's got it. Trump squandered $30 billion of U.S. taxpayer money, exercising his military, Department of War, so that he could claim victory 30 times in a war that he lost, and then pay the said losers of that war $300 billion. Yep. That's the art of the deal, all right. Or maybe the art of the steal.
Yeah.
He needs a leash.
Yeah. All right. So they're trying to figure out what's going on here. And this particular fellow, I think is probably worth even listening to what he has to say, because what he is talking about here is that that the Iranians, who are Persians, recognized that Trump was mentally deranged, that he has very serious psychiatric issues. And that so they decided they would deploy a full cadre of psychologists to analyze his mental illness and devise talking points that would play to that mental illness. And that's how they re-engaged with him, diagnosing the fact that he was mentally ill and crafting a deal that would play to someone who was mentally ill, who has no ability to focus on anything, won't read anything. He has no idea, by the way, what he signed. No.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's clueless. He's absolutely clueless as to what he signed. They played him. Well, let's listen to the clip because it's really an interesting deal.
Iranian sources told me the Iranian side added senior psychologists to their negotiating team to review the communications that they were going to be sending to the mediators to give to Trump. The Iranians believe that Trump is legitimately mentally ill and is operating in an impaired mental state. And they didn't say this as a joke. They didn't say this with any lightness. They said, we recognize that we are dealing with a mentally incapacitated individual, and we've had senior psychologists work up a psychological profile of what they think is going on with Trump's brain. And so we started to cater our messages by running them past senior psychologists before delivering them to Trump. And they said that we started to then see some progress. They almost talked about it like a clinical sense, like they're dealing with a patient. Iranian sources told me...
That's it.
Like they're dealing with a patient. I mean,
a psychotic individual, that he is mentally ill. Now, it is true that Trump is mentally ill. He is a psychopath, which is probably the single worst form of mental illness. A psychopath, somebody without empathy, who will destroy the world for their own self-aggrandizement and will use all manner of people and spit them out. He is a malignant narcissist. We've known that for a very long time. He suffers from confabulation, which is a really tragic mental illness. A confabulator is someone who believes and says things that have no correlation to reality. And so those three things are absolutely certain. We are the first to prove through the prophets that he is also demon possessed, and it's not any ordinary demon. He's the first person in human history to actually be possessed by Satan. He is the living incarnation of Satan. And that's the biggest issue of all.
Yeah. Rahab, he fulfills all the checkpoints from the prophets, and then we can even look to his actions and his words now. And it's that's why we don't understand it. Nobody's going, everybody's, what could this be? Yeah.
I understand that what I did and looking at every prophetic pronouncement in the oldest extant sources, scrubbing each word of its religiosity and getting down to its core meaning. And doing that for every prophet that spoke of this time and of this betrayal. And was able to deduce that it would be the President of the United States at the time that we entered the time of Israel's troubles, which I deduced would be on Shabuah, the 22nd of May of 2026, a month ago. That would be the person who betrays Israel. And that betrayal of Israel would ignite the 7 years of Israel's troubles. And therefore, when Trump won the election 2 years ago, just shy of 2 years ago, I announced that he was the person that Christians have sought, known as the Antichrist. We've subsequently learned that he is Rahab, is Yahuwah's testimony, and that he fits every description of this individual: sexually perverted, long in days, very old man, goatish comb-over hair, that he is a copper con, both in tone and as a con artist. Real estate developer is another one of the prophetic statements. Grossly egomaniacal, sexually perverted, again, as we know. And that he is forming relations with others to specifically undermine Israel at this time. And the prophets are overwhelming in their depiction of Donald Trump in this role. So it's one thing for us to have invested all of that time. And you can't just do it, say, I'm going to read all the prophets. You have to go back to the original Hebrew, scrub it of religiosity, go back to the oldest sources, and have the wherewithal to tie every one of these prophecies together, to deduce that. And it flies, of course, in the face of what our culture tells us, which is that Christians are afraid of the Antichrist, who's this anti-Christian fellow, when Trump was elected by Christians. And so it's a very difficult thing for anyone to accept who isn't already disciplined to go where Yahweh's words lead, no matter where they go. So it's one thing to have done that, and we did that. It's another thing that when somebody has done it for you, and then Trump proves with every word that comes out of his mouth that he is indeed demon-possessed and that he is the great betrayer, and you still can't get Israel's attention, what does that say?
Well, we know that GDR had the highest readership per capita in Iran through that its time. I wonder if they had a little ping and decided to go ahead and read the Babel series to read Satan's playbook. You know, these psychologists are like, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. Maybe we should read anything else that can support us, help us out.
Too bad we can't get readership in Israel.
Yes,
because Israel is being destroyed right before our eyes. So is America. So is the world. We're going to get to the MOU before long. It's one of the. I think I have 2 posts that detail the entire thing. It was released yesterday evening by guess who? Guess who released it? Because Trump has done everything he can to hide it so he can lie about it. And he wanted to be able to lie about it through the G7 summit and set the whole thing up under his confabulation and did not want it published. Guess who published it?
Iran.
Why we have a copy? You know why we have a copy of it? Was
the Iran?
Iranians. No, God, no. The Iranians don't want it known. Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
MBS. And so what does that tell you? I know what it tells me. MBS is pissed. He is absolutely livid at what Trump did. That's why he released it. And they released it without comment. All right, we have a fun one here, and as a practical guy, I thought you'd appreciate this. Who would have thought, at things that is just as simple as a bucket, that somebody could make a better bucket? But and I've seen this video a couple of times over the years, and I want to tell you, every time I see it, I say, okay, well, that's really smart. I've had every one of those problems with a bucket. You solved them all. Congratulations. Let's go ahead and play, because this is the bucket of buckets. We want to be a full service provider here.
They'll never vacuum together. You'll never have to fight 2 buckets apart. We stuffed 6 features in this bucket that a regular 5-gallon bucket does not have in. The first feature is a dustpan. You can see right there for sweeping up debris at the job site around home. The second feature, a standard 9-inch roller, will go all the way down to the bottom for a paint roller tray.
Absolutely clever.
The third feature is a built-in pour spout, so you can have a nice controlled and smooth
Gotta have that too.
The fourth feature, we elevated the floor so your fingertips have a much more comfortable area to grab onto when you're pouring something heavy. Our fifth feature, we have exterior as well as engraved interior measurement markings. The sixth feature, because the way that multi-pill is shaped, it allows air all the way down. They'll never vacuum together. You'll never have to fight 2 buckets apart. We also have our disposable paint liner as well for painters, epoxies, resins, etc.
Is there a lid for it? And yes, everyone, there is a lid coming.
Lid is coming in June of 2026. They'll never vacuum together. You'll never have.
All right.
Take 3.
Oh, I would too. I want to tell you, you could charge 5 times the average price of a bucket, and I'd still buy that bucket. It is that. See, we can be ingenious. After 6,000 years, we have invented the perfect bucket.
The perfect bucket. Yeah. The only thing I'm missing is a gamma top adapter so I could put my screw-on gamma top lids for it, because there's nothing nicer than a screw-on top on a bucket, man. I mean, it is slick. Get your rice out of there and just screw it back, So
okay,
anyway,
well, you probably should shoot them the tip, and I'm sure they'd figure out a way to provide that for you. That is one clever company right there. Gotta love it.
I think
provider.
I think our buddy Mark Wasty makes the die molds. He produces the die molds that they use to make these buckets. So
really, wow.
Good for you.
I'm glad we promoted them then. Oh goodness, Christianity. What he is saying is that Christianity is dying. And that he's really worried that Christianity is dying because the things that have replaced Christianity have never added anything nice to the world. Well, this is a religion that has condemned Jews, demonized them, tortured Jews, robbed Jews, subjugated Jews, persecuted Jews for 18 centuries. It is the religion behind the Holocaust. It is the religion behind the anti-Semitism. It is the religion behind the system of the caste system of lords and serfs that imprisoned virtually every European under lords. It's the system under the Holy Roman Empire that was so egregious on average people. It's the system that gave birth to the Roman Catholic Church that had, under penalty of death, anyone translating any part of its scriptures in a language anyone could understand. This is the religion of the Third Reich. It is the religion of Trump's Fourth Reich. This is the worst thing that ever happened to God's people. And you want to pout about its death and what's going to replace it? Yeah, I'll have no problem to tell you that Islam is as bad, if not worse. Marxism is as bad as not worse. And if that's what you're crying all over, that those things are replacing it, then, goody for you. I'm going to tell you that when you have something as despicable as Christianity, you ought not lament things that are equally despicable that replace your despicable religion.
Yeah, he goes on to talk about, destroying a religion and then there's nothing to replace it. But he talks about Christianity as this great moral structure that has done so much for mankind. It's like, where does the any morality in Christianity come from? The Torah, the top 10,
Correct.
And they don't even listen. And they don't even listen to those. But
correct. Yeah, it's all of its morality comes from the Torah, which they attack, demean. And the entire religion itself is based on a lie. So if your religion is based on identity theft, and your religion is based on a false God, you turn God into a man, and then you have a God so feeble that men can kill him, and then you blame other people for killing your God, and you steal all of their inheritance, and so you have a religion that's based on nothing but thievery and lies. And you want to say that is a moral good? You're just not thinking. Yeah. And, Jordan Peterson, he went from a damn good psychologist that was on the right side of the transgender debate to being an absolute worthless human being and promoting religion via being an influencer.
He needs to start back over with Make Your Bed.
Guys are repulsive. Okay, so I'm
going to try to mute this.
The war between...
You can, there we go. No, I don't want to listen to this. This is... Okay. Yeah.
Well, this is an absolutely moronic statement. And I understand why you don't want to listen to it. This person in this British accent talks about how so glorious the Strait of Hormuz is being reopened and the world is at peace again. And good God, isn't Trump so marvelous that he's achieved all of these wonderful things? But the Israelis won't leave
the war between
Gaza and they won't leave Lebanon. And so Trump is not able to achieve this glorious solution. So who is it that controls the U.S. government? I mean, this is just so utterly stupid. I don't know. Is there a better word for stupid?
Idiotic? Insane?
Insane. Okay.
Insane.
You have an American president that decides that he wants to bomb Iran, and it causes the Strait of Hormuz to be closed and puts the world in economic peril. He loses that war and surrenders in that war. And that he then negotiates the surrender without even discussing it with Israel after telling Israel that he thinks they're effing stupid. And won't even share a copy of the agreement with Israel. Not only negotiated it without talking to Israel, won't even share a copy of it with Israel, and then is lambasting Israel, saying they're effing stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy wants to infer that evidence proves that Israel is in control of the United States, when it's exactly the opposite. I mean, when humanity has dropped to this level and AI is pushing such rubbish on social media, there is no hope for humanity.
Yeah.
Connect the dots. Who is in control of American policy? Israel wasn't consulted on that deal.
Mm-hmm.
Israel was demeaned in the deal. Israel is absolutely screwed by that deal. And you want to say it's Israel that caused that deal? How can anybody be that thoughtless?
Yeah. The whole presentation was just, number one, wrong. And number two, it was bad. I counted 4 times in the presentation when this is the most explosive revelation of this 7-minute video we're going to put out. So how did we have the most explosive thing 4 times? And it was just one trope after the other and I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't get to the end of it. I get the whole.
You can see the books on the shelf behind me. There's 38 of them. I think I've written 40 some odd books. Those books are all written on a standard premise: evidence and reason.
Mm-hmm.
You examine the evidence and you make rational conclusions based on the evidence. That's what we do. This idiot makes up the evidence such that it's not evidence, it's just his opinion. And then he draws opinions from his opinions that are the opposite of what evidence and reason would deduce.
Right.
And then promotes it as, boy, I'm really insightful. I'm the guy here sharing with you that Israel is to blame for everything.
Mm-hmm. And Donald Trump saved us all.
Disgusting.
I mean, it was.
But he does it with a British accent, so it sounds international.
Exactly.
Like it wasn't put out by a MAGAite.
Mm-hmm. Well,
anti-Semitic MAGAite.
Yeah, for some reason, Americans, I don't know what it is, tend to be enamored with the British accent. They just think it's so intelligent. They think it's so, not posh is the British word for it, but it's so intellectual, and it's so refined. It's like, man, no, sorry.
It was so funny yesterday. We were, first, Joe, our beloved Joe, who's done our website, has created the most sophisticated text-to-speech tool, I think, in the history of the universe. I mean, it's just boggles the mind, the layers of this tool that he has created to train the dragon. And it's all to clone voices, to create audio versions of our books, and then avatars to read them. And it's a big, big project. I mean, it's many, many tens of thousands of dollars and enormous man hours. And the result, if you listen to AI presentations, and the majority of things online are now AI presentations, they aren't very good. And we have this challenge of we have Hebrew words and Greek words and Arabic words, very sophisticated terms and names that the pronunciations are important that the world just does not know. And so it's an exceedingly difficult thing to do. And so yesterday, we're running on multiple fronts, and we were testing one of the models here on Perry's Beast, the machine downstairs. And it was so funny. It started off, it was a clone of my voice. We've done a bunch of things to train these AIs to do the cadence of my voice because I wrote the books and did the translations and all. So it starts off and it's doing a decent job of the cadence of my voice. Then it goes for about 15 or 20 seconds. And it's brilliant. It goes and increases the pitch, increases the tempo. It adds emotes really passion. And you're going, holy mackerel, I did not know that was even possible to get an AI to be interesting, so that, if you're sharing a long program, you'll notice that I go from slow to fast to quiet to louder to pretty much of a monotone to very impassioned, because you can't stay impassioned the whole time or at the same pace the whole time or the same level of sound the whole time without absolutely putting people to sleep. So you have to know how to change your tone and cadence in a delivery, particularly if you're going to have.
Oh, you changed your tone.
Long. So it went into this changed tone. I was saying, wow, this is really spectacular. This is what a winner. And 15 seconds later.
Hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor. Well, we're going to talk about Yahowah. And here are my thoughts on Yahowah. And it went through a full-on British accent. What would possess this computer to do that?
Because the model was actually created in Great Britain. That's what we found out this morning.
Okay, so the model was created in Great Britain. There's nothing great about Britain, but okay. All right, so anyway. So you actually had a thought there on AI, and there is nobody I'd rather get my AI update from.
No,
than Captain Analog.
No, I don't have a thought about AI.
Technology section.
So, what was it you wanted to share about AI there, Captain Analog?
Okay, because I had such a warm reception to this,
yes.
I'm gonna write a paper on it, and I'm gonna send it to all of you. And it's not about AI what it does. It's about the companies and how in debt they are.
Yes. Okay.
And I mean, they are really deeply in debt. I don't know if you know what's the doctor's name, Hyman Minsky. He was an economist at Harvard, and he studied all these ups and downs of how businesses grow and whatever, and he invented the Minsky bubble. And it lines up exactly what's going on right now. Lines up exactly to the .com, the COVID situation, and also the Lehman Brothers thing. And it was uncanny. We're in a really bad bubble, and they keep raising money that they can't pay off because they're way beyond debt.
We just had $1 trillion IPO for a company that has not only always lost money, but there is no pathway for that company to ever make money.
No,
and it was you can't trade. It wasn't trading on a multiple of earnings or even a multiple of future anticipated earnings, because there are no earnings in the past, and there's no pathway to earnings in the future. This is a company right now that has a 90% market share in what it does, and it can't make money. And if you can't make money when you have a 90% market share, which you do, there is no chance you're ever going to make money.
Time to start making buckets.
And so making money is no longer a part of the equation for a Wall Street evaluation. And the AIs, there is no way for the AIs to make money. The only place where they can have a revenue stream that is positive, really, of any significance is in large corporations where they replace employees. Well, that's pretty negative for society, because that means that people are no longer working, and the economy is going to tank under those circumstances, which means your AI is not going to be any value, and your company is not going to be of any value if you have nobody to buy your products. So that's counterproductive. And the other is government, because government is using it like Grok was used. And we now know in the Iran war, it also provided targeting, as did OpenAI. So it's being used to destroy and to kill, and being used to destroy and to kill jobs. People and jobs is what it's being used to kill. Those are the only places where it can actually make some money, and both of which is a self-defeating system. You make money doing any one of those two things, and pretty soon you don't have any place to. Yeah, you destroyed your customers, so you don't have any money to make. But no, there's no hope for AI ever being a consumer product, ever.
Yeah, the only source is they sell it to the government, military.
Right. Yeah, and the chips they run on and the data centers they run on are just so prohibitively expensive into the billions and billions of dollars. There is no path to profitability. So, why these stunning evaluations for a company that loot money? It's it all gets down to, you have in America an economy that is based strictly on a belief system, that debt note that you have in your pocket that you think of as a dollar and has worth is actually a promissory note. It's a debt instrument. And the country is over $40 trillion in debt and has no one to buy the debt. They cannot cycle the debt. They can't fund new debt. And all they are left to do is to create the illusion of funding through quantitative easing, which it just continues to destroy the value of the currency.
Yeah, just print money.
So we're in a position where even the U.S. is run on the same principle of psychosis, of mass delusion, which is what the stock market is now. It's mass delusion. The SpaceX IPO, the pricing of Tesla in the market. It's mass delusion. It's mass hysteria.
Well, and
that doesn't work well for a long time.
AI itself is kind of the same thing. There is this idea in the government, in business, that if you're not using AI, you're not on the edge of the future, and you can't be competitive, right? So you need to invest in AI just in case it turns into something, so that you can maintain your competitive edge. Yeah. When I don't know that it gives any competitive edge to a team of people, not in business.
I will tell you that I only use it in one way, which is that I have to present these things for our blog on the blog. And so I try to do a quick fact check. And if I use AI, the first answer I get from AI is wrong 90% of the time. And then I know that was not right. So I'll try to refine the question and prompt it to go again. And I'll get an answer that's right about 50% of the time. So in the old-fashioned way of looking for independent articles, worked better, but the problem with that is now with social media being such a cesspool of lies, and so many people in the mainstream media now picking up on the lies in social media, there really is no credible source of information today. All right, he's going to let the dogs end. He has done so. Let's go to our next post there, my friend. Oh, I saw a really handsome tail that went by there. You got a white dog.
Yes, it's the Great Pyrenees.
Yeah. So here is a pastor, and he wants you to know that what Jesus said in the book of John about the Holy Spirit and how the Holy Spirit was going to come upon you. Oh boy. Now, what he doesn't want to tell you is there really is no gospel of any kind. Paul made up the term. There's no book that calls itself a gospel. But Paul literally made up the term. It's his term. If you want to use Paul's term, it's euangelion, good messenger, which is he applied to himself. In fact, he said, if heaven has a good message and I have a good message, heaven's message doesn't count. It's only mine. He actually said that.
Sounds like a rabbi.
Oh, sounds like a rabbi. Yeah, sounds like a rabbi. Well, he was a rabbi. Yeah, there you go. So you know that it's Paul's message, not God's message, because he says that his the only one that counts. He actually wrote that what John was teaching in Ephesus was so contrary to what he was teaching that John needed to be condemned, and everybody that was affected by John had to be brainwashed. But now he, even not knowing that the first 14 books of the Christian New Testament were all written by Paul, who condemned John. He doesn't know that. And he condemned Peter too, and Jacob, James. But he didn't know that. And he doesn't know about the internal contradictions, therefore, in his own book. What he also doesn't know is that the book that is called John was written by somebody who we have no clue who he was. It is only mythology that it attaches it to a person named John. But nobody has a clue. We do know that it was written no earlier than 95 CE.
Okay.
That's 3 generations after the fact. And it was written in a country a long, long distance away by somebody who we do not know, generations after the fact, 6 decades later. And
but
so
we have the dancing baby.
Credibility. Pardon?
We have the dancing baby. We have the dancing baby in the womb. I mean, John, didn't John's mom? That doesn't prove that.
No, that's Luke. Luke is with the paganism of the dancing babies. So he doesn't know that the book of John is just absolute BS. 95 CE by an unknown writer in what is today Turkey. No. And he doesn't know that the person he's attributing it to was condemned by the person who wrote the first 14 books of his Bible, Paul. And he does not know that Jesus never existed. There was no person named Jesus in the first century in Yahuwd, much less in any century prior to the 17th, which is the first time that Jesus was invented. He doesn't know that either. He doesn't know that Iusu of the creation of Paul was nothing but the product of identity theft. He stole the Messiah title and Son of God title and Savior title all from David. Doesn't know that. Doesn't know that it was Dode who foretold his own crucifixion in 33 CE, and it was not an imaginary Jesus. He's not smart enough to know that. He does not know that the Spirit is not holy, because holy is a Hebrew word, and it means diseased.
Yeah.
He does not know that the Ruach is feminine, and it is attributed a masculine title in the New Testament, so that the New Testament has to be completely disjoined from the Torah, prophets, and Psalms. He does not know that God's Spirit will never, under any circumstance, come anywhere near someone who is religious. But it's nice white hair. It goes nicely with his shirt. So he's got that going for him.
Yeah, nice tie, I guess,
Yeah, tie. I'm not impressed with the knot, but it's a nice white shirt with the white hair. That's a look.
Okay. Oh, funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Turning point there, pal. Okay. You're wrong about everything, and you're lying to people, and you know it.
And he knows it. And he knows it.
And he knows
That's,
it.
Mm.
This is a story of the Battle of Tours, and it's but people just don't process because they're so ignorant of history. Is that beginning when Muhammad turned about 60 years old, he promoted a religion that was based upon waging war against all humankind. That's the Pledge of Aqaba, first year of the Islamic era. We pledged to wage war against all mankind. And then he began to do it. He led 77 terrorist raids in the first 10 years of the Islamic era. And after his death, Muslims fought the war of compulsion in Arabia to force every Arab into Islam. And then they began their genocidal rage against the world. And they killed Muslims in the first 100 years of Islam, 200 million people. It was a third of the Earth's population at the time. And since that time, they've killed another 200 million and enslaved, robbed, raped another 200 million. This religion still has apartheid conditions in the 55 countries that they have colonialized. And they damn near conquered Europe. It's the most savage, deadly, destructive, demonic religion in human history. The Quran is the worst book ever written. It is grossly immoral. And I don't say that without provocation. I've written the most comprehensive analysis of the Quran in human history. Goddamn religion. There are 5 volumes. I mean, this is 825 pages. It would outpace any book that anybody else has ever written on Islam by itself. And there's 5 of them in the series. 4,200 pages, all documented from the 5 oldest Islamic sources. I use Muhammad's and Allah's words and deeds against them and nothing else. And I prove conclusively that Allah was Satan. Muhammad was a sexual pervert, a slave trader, and a terrorist, and a mass murderer. And that he was no prophet and that Allah is no God. Prove it overwhelmingly, undeniably, irrefutably, with their evidence, with their own words. And still, the world wants to accept and coddle Islam. Grotesque ignorance. Deadly ignorance.
Yeah, it's tough because people know Islam is bad, okay? The problem that people don't know is that all Islam is bad. They want to make this idea that there is such a thing as a good Muslim, as a Muslim that you can live side by side with in peace and harmony. And there just isn't, because they do not understand what the Quran says.
I read an article today as an opinion piece in the Jerusalem Post, and it was to criticize Netanyahu for not using diplomacy and resolving the issues of the nations around him as opposed to using militancy. And they said, you know, we had this golden opportunity to negotiate with people we consider to be our enemies and to form mutually beneficial agreements and to eliminate the extremism amongst the inhabitants in our area. We wouldn't even call them Muslims, but we had the opportunity to eliminate extremism and have a diplomatic peace. And you could, you know, you can write, yeah, I assume you can read, and you're completely ignorant of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know that there has never been and will never be a deal with a Muslim that's binding on the Muslim. That any deal with a Muslim is to set the Muslim up to take advantage of the non-Muslim, and that Muslims must fight to the death on behalf of Allah, and that the world must capitulate to Allah. You don't know what the Quran says. You don't know what the Hadith says. You don't know who Muhammad was. And so you're talking about forming negotiations to eliminate the extremism when you're not even aware that the extremism is normalization. That is the religion. There is no other form of the religion other than as a criminal enterprise and death cult. And so it's just flabbergasting that after 1,400 years, people who consider themselves enlightened are still wholly ignorant and irrational when it comes to Islam. How many people must they kill before?
Yeah.
So here, I listened to several interviews with Eyeliner Boy last night, and he was asked repeatedly, so what about this $300 million commitment by the United States to fund reparations for Iran? Is it in the agreement? And he didn't want to deny that it was in the agreement. He said, oh, but it requires all sorts of things that Iran must do to have access to that kind of money. There's all sorts of things that they must give up for them to have access to the money. In other words, he is saying the opposite of what Trump is saying. Trump is saying it doesn't exist. There is no $300 million to Iran. And he is saying, yes, there is the $300 million to Iran, but Iran must jump through hoops to get it. we're going to read the actual memo of understanding, memorandum of understanding. And I'm here to tell you, the 300 million, it is fully guaranteed by the United States, and it is not contingent on anything. So Eyeliner Boy lied, and POTUS lied. And it's true that Americans are going to be paying $1,000 per American to fix what Trump broke.
Yeah.
Oh, I want you to play this just because this guy is just livid. I mean, I think that righteous indignation is a good thing. He's not righteous indignation here. And oh, by the way, he's dead ass wrong. So my thought is men without a functioning conscience are unconscionable. He doesn't realize he wants to condemn Israel for killing civilians in Gaza. Do you not understand the nature of Gaza and Islam? Do you not know that every jihadist is a civilian? Every Hamas member is a civilian. Every one of the Islamic terrorists that came into Israel, they're all civilians. And every civilian in Gaza is a Muslim. And in Islam, it tells them to do, it orders them to do exactly what they did.
Yeah.
And so you want to condemn Israel for allowing Islam to rape, abduct, and murder Jews.
Torture, yeah.
And you want to then condemn Israel for trying to hold those Muslims accountable. Because in your view, innocent civilians were killed when in fact every jihadist is a civilian and every civilian is a Muslim. And the Muslims in Gaza were unified in their support of what happened on 10/7. And they were complicit in the abduction of and torture of the Jews who were there. Islam is the cause of genocide and has been the leading cause of genocide for 14 centuries. And yet, this idiot goes apeshit to say exactly the opposite. You can play him just for anybody that thinks I get a little too hot and bothered trying to awaken Israel to the reality of their situation. Listen to this guy.
How could it be done to you and your ancestors, and you turn around and you do it to someone else? And I ask Jews all over the world to consider what this man, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his right-wing government is doing to the Jewish people all over the world. To allow this to happen to children and civilians of all ages in Gaza, for whatever reason, is unconscionable and unthinkable. And I ask you Jews everywhere all over the world to...
For whatever reason.
For whatever.
Gee, what could have possibly been the reason? No, was it the War of Independence when the Muslims surrounding Israel say we're going to kill every Jew and wipe Israel off the face of the earth? Could it have been the 1966 Six-Day War when the Muslims said the same thing? Could it have been the 1973 Yom Kippur War where the Muslims decided the same thing? Could it have been all of those intifadas where the goal was to kill every Jew? Could it have been the pay for slay that the Palestinian Authority has positioned? Could it be in Hamas's doctrine to eliminate the state of Israel? Could it be from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free so that there will be no Israel and not a single Jew left on earth? Could it have been 10/7 when Muslims came into Israel and slaughtered Jews? Could it have been? Whatever it was unconscionable. It was on behalf of the perpetrators.
Craig,
you ignorant piece of crap.
Craig, tell the story of when you were in Israel and with the terrorist and they were cheering about the bus. And you asked them why. I mean,
Yeah, I went to Israel right after God met with me and said, I want you to do this. And I want you to start with by exposing the truth about Islam. I want you to do that to protect my people so that they know the truth about this enemy that is trying to destroy them. And first thing I did, because he made the request of me within a week's time of 9/11, is that, well, I probably better start by figuring out why 9/11 happened. So I decided that I would go to the place which is ground central of Islamic terrorism worldwide, which is, I flew into Israel. I had lots of money at the time, so I had plenty of connections. I was met by the Mossad at the airport. I was taken to the Knesset. I met with all of the higher ups of the Israeli government and also with the Palestinian Authority. And over 2 weeks' time, I negotiated the opportunity to do something that no one had ever done, which is to meet with Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, and Al Qaeda. And they said, you've been here for 2 weeks. You've asked for this one thing, and no one has ever asked for this thing. And we are convinced that by asking for this thing, you're going to die in the process. So, but it's what you want to do, and you're here to do it. So we're going to accommodate you. We will introduce you to them. But first, you're going to sign this paper that says that what you're doing is suicide. That we will not be able to protect you. We will not even know where they take you. And what you're doing, you will not live through it. So you want to sign that? You're telling us that we can deny that you made this request of us and that you're a dead man walking? Go right ahead. The Mossad agent assigned to me said, if you're not on God's mission, you are dead. And they took me to the border. And I was picked up, I was blindfolded. I was driven at gunpoint and taken into a dungeon with a single light in the middle of that room. And over the course of the next 4 to 6 hours, I met with Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Al Qaeda, Hezbollah. About halfway through, the group that I was meeting with, and I tell this whole story of every detail of that meeting in the book Tea with Terrorists. About halfway through was Islamic Jihad. And 4 operatives came in. They were all in really nicely tailored uniforms. And they were all carrying M16s, American assault rifles, not the AK-47s. They were M16s. And they began by chambering rounds and holding the guns against my temple. They thought it would be fun. But I didn't flinch. I knew what I was there for. And so I began to ask them probing questions. And they said, I don't think you know who we are. I said, did you read the newspapers, listen to the news last night and again this morning before you came here? And I said, yeah, I did. He said, then you know about the bus to Emmanuel. I said, yes. 12 Jewish women and little children had their heads blown off. The axle was blown off the bus with an IED, and then men dressed in military uniforms impersonating the IDF escorted the women and children off the bus, and as they walked off the bus, they blew their brains out. Is that what you're talking about? And they said, yes. We did that. I was there. And I want to tell you, we aren't terrorists because we were wearing army uniforms. We were carrying army assault rifles, and we did it as military. We're not terrorists. We did it. Now, to have men holding rifles at your forehead and you're in a dungeon, and they're bragging, having just blown off the heads of 12 Jewish women and children, that'll get your attention. We spoke a lot about it. and I probed them about it. And I tell the story, of course, in Deep with Terrorists, but it is truly astonishing that people have been led to believe that the jihadists have corrupted their religion, when jihad is essential to Islam, and that they have completely squandered all pretense of morality. And death becomes them. They live to die. They will die to kill. So, yeah, it's. I can tell you when I speak out to protect Israel on behalf of Yahowah, because he asked me to do this. And I have updated Prophet of Doom, which was 1 volume, with the 5 volumes of goddamn religion, doing something no one had ever done before, which is to put the Quran in context of Muhammad's life, reordering it chronologically and using the 4 oldest and most credible hadith sources to explain it. That I have more skin in the game than does anybody in the IDF or the Israeli government. I've had the guns pointed at my forehead. I've run for my life. I've had thousands of death threats. I have a fatwa from the Saudi Arabian government. I've done it. I have skin in the game. I've paid the price to deliver this message to you. You could at least listen. Israel. Asshole. For some reason, for some unknown reason, for some supposed reason, asshole. You're a creep. You're no better. In fact, maybe worse than those Muslims who murdered Jews, because you're condemning Jews for trying to defend themselves from those Muslims.
And doing it in a way to bring up ideas of the Holocaust. I mean, that's exactly what he's doing here when he's saying that your ancestors and you know were and things were.
This was done to you, and now you're doing it to others to destroy Jews. It was done during the Holocaust because 2 religions, actually 3 religions, coincided. Hitler was a Marxist, a religion of man. Europe had been prepared for this through anti-Semitism by Christianity. And it was during a meeting with a leading Muslim that the decision was made to change incarceration and exile to extermination. 3 religions coalesced to cause the death of 6 million Jews. And you don't know any one of the 3, and you are an adherent of one of the 3. Mm-hmm. You don't know history. You don't know morality. You don't even know that there is no such thing as the Jewish people. Maybe one of the most profound insights that I have delivered, and it just came on me one day. There's no such thing as a Jew. I'm not saying this to be conspiratorial. I'm just telling you a fact. When was the term Jew first used?
That'd be after the minute the J.
Yeah, 1650s, 1660s. Prior to that time, had never been a Jew. So the term itself, Jew and Jewish and Judaism, were all invented in the 17th century. There's no basis for any of them. The term that matters if you want to actually have an identity would be Yahuwd, and in the plural, Yahudem. But you don't like that term. You know why you don't like that term? Yahuwd and Yahudem? Because it has Yahweh's name in it. Because it has Dod's name in it. Yahuwd is a compound of Yahweh and Dod. Mm-hmm. You hate God. You erased God's name from your own. You don't want to see Dod as the returning Messiah and King, as the Son of God, as beloved. So you erased your King's name and your God's name from your name and became a mythical people. There's no such thing as a Jewish person. There are Yahuwd, beloved of Yah, but there's not 50 of them on the planet today that fit that title. And even then, it's 1/12 of Yisra'el. 1/12. Yisra'el is also a naming convention. It's not an ethnicity. Abraham wasn't a Israelite. He was a Babylonian. Sarah wasn't a Israelite. She was Babylonian. Yishak was therefore Babylonian. Yishak went off and married Rebekah. She was of the same family line as Sarah and Abraham. Therefore, Esau, who you want to see as estranged and not Jewish, and Jacob, they were both Babylonians, and they were brothers. Esau is a brother of Jacob. Jacob went off and married 2 Babylonians. Laban was a descendant of same family of Abraham and Sarah. And so you've got another marriage between Babylonians. And so their 12 sons were all Babylonian. One of those sons they gave the name of Yahuwd, beloved of Yah. And then Jacob gained the pseudonym of Yisra'el. And he was given the pseudonym of Yisra'el because it fit him and it fits Israel. It's a name that is based upon Sarah's name and God's title. Ish, meaning individuals. Sarah. Sarah has many meanings, and like many Hebrew words, is both good and bad. Sarah can mean on the good side to engage and endure. On the bad side, it's to wrestle, to contend with, to be in conflict with. And the third is, of course, God. So individuals who are contentious toward and in conflict with God, which would include 99.999% of Israelis today, like this ugly fellow up here. And maybe 50, push it to 100, who have read Yahuwah and know who they are again, that are engaged and enduring with God. And that is the only term that matters unless you are a specific tribe and you can demonstrate that you are a derivative of Yahuwd as one of the 12 sons, which probably is impossible. And so to pretend that there's a race called Jews is mythical. The term was made up. It has no more validity than Palestine does. Palestine is nothing but an ethnic slur. It has no basis in history or fact. Jew has no basis in history or fact. You need to know who you are, and then you need to know why you are no longer what you were, because you were Yahuwd. You were Yisra'el, and you're not anymore. Why not? Why did you erase Yahweh's name? Why did you erase Dod's name? What did you lose when you did so? Do you have any chance of surviving the next 7 years if you continue to do so? Yeah, there are times when there's not a lot you can add, right?
Yeah, gotta let you go on that one. Yeah, it's been said.
It's one of the most profoundly important conclusions that I have drawn, and I've drawn tens of thousands of them. But there's no argument with that one. It's for real. It's a naming convention, and it's an important naming convention. I don't want to slight the term. Yahuwd is an exceedingly important naming convention, and so is Yisra'el. But it is a naming convention. It does not designate an ethnicity. Pow. Oh, fuck. Excuse me, but good God. So disgusted by religion. Okay, so God's the one with the wings, and he's got a halo. And he's got solar rays that are coming above him.
Looks like he's getting ready to throw a thunderbolt too. I mean, there's a lightning coming out of his head.
Yeah, Thor and Zeus with the thunderbolt, and the halo, which is the sun gods of ancient past. And he is overriding Satan, who is the horn dude there dressed in black, when Satan is actually a Karub, which means he is a high-ranking Malak. That would be a spiritual being. And the rumor in I think it's the book of Jude, is that Satan wanted access to the body, wanted to dig up the body of Moshe and steal it, but God wouldn't allow him. What this tells you is that religions are focused on the body. They think that Moshe was the body, that represents Moshe. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Moshe's soul was actually Yosef before he was Moshe. And I prove it in the material that I'm writing right now. The story that God tells about the setup of Moshe 80 years before he was deployed. It's so detailed that if you're going to believe that God played a game of chance with a 3-year-old baby boy tossed into the Nile, that he was going to redeploy 80 years thereafter, you might even believe that the US dollar has value. You might even believe that the devil wanted the body of Moshe. You might be stupid enough to believe those things. The problem with religion, Islam, it's a religion based entirely on physical bodies being resurrected, so that Allah can torture almost all of them in hell, roasting them over with a spit over a fire in hell, and making them drink toxic and molten beverages. Got to have physical body to do that. And in hell and in heaven, to be placated with perpetual virgins, which would require a body too. So they have you going from a body to a body. In Christianity, the God actually took on a body, so God became a man. Your God is no bigger than a man if Jesus is your God. And so the body is the whole thing. Nothing more to God than that body. But they want you to believe that body was so weak that men could kill it, and did. And then their proof that that body was more than just a body is a bodily resurrection. Just like the Egyptians. Yeah. Just like the Egyptians. Yeah, the Babylonians before them. And so they want to do the same thing with Moshe and pretend that the body has value. They don't realize that bodies are about 20 cents. If you take the sum of my body, or any body, we're about 80% water, which means that we're going to be the next rainstorm. You know, once you're dead, 80% of you goes away because it was water. It's a good rainstorm. You're going to collect all of that and decide, well, no, that drop, that was mine. That was mine. No, that one's yours. Okay. And the rest just turns to worm rot, and quickly. And that worm is part of the ecosystem that will become other bodies. You're going to argue over whose you got and what for. You think your body is really that great? You think your body's immortal? What are you going to do with your body? How are you going to leave this planet and go into a dimension beyond 3D with a body? You think that through? You can't even get to the next planet while you have a body. And you're going to go to heaven? Didn't think that one through, did you? No, souls matter. And a soul exists in dimensions beyond 3.
Yeah.
And the body that a soul is put in is meaningless. And so long as you're fixated on digging up Moshe's body and having Satan want to steal the body, and you want to play that into your bodily resurrection of your man who was a god in a body, then you're going to be duped. You're just going to be played for a fool. And that's the whole thing here. Christians, the religious, they'll believe anything. I mean, here are Muslims believing that sex outside of your 4 allotted wives is so bad that Muslims have to kill you if you did it. If you're a woman and you're engaged in it, they're going to flog you to death. and you can't drink wine or you're going to be flogged to death. And yet the Islamic heaven has rivers that flow with wine and a perpetual array of young girls who are virgins for you to conquer. And you're going to believe that? And you just have to be stupid. I mean, just utterly and completely stupid to be a Christian or a Muslim. And of course, in Judaism, it's bodily resurrection too. They don't know to where because they don't believe there's a heaven and they don't believe there's a hell. So they don't know where to where or how you get there or anything else. They just torment you during this life. So you're just too confused because you're following all their laws. So you never bother to think it through. But this is pathetic. This is God being shown as a man, the devil being shown as a beastly man, and Moses being represented by a decaying body. And what could possibly be wrong with all three of those?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a largely accurate narration. I just put it there. We can people can go to the Yahuwah.com site and go to the vlog page and bring this up, and they can listen to it. It actually is a fairly accurate and evaluation. The fact is that Iran played Trump and they played Netanyahu. They played Netanyahu more than they played Trump, but they did. They played both of them. They figured out psychologically how to maneuver them into a lose-lose position. And Iran absolutely pushed both Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu into a corner that is completely destructive to their countries.
Yeah, what surprised me about that was this is the first mention I've heard of Israel moving out of Syria. I didn't even. I guess they're still slightly trying to protect the Druze that are there, or
no. I mean, that's an excuse. No, they want to have a buffer. This thing they're trying to do in Libya. They want to have a buffer, and they want to expand the size of Israel. And so the way to do that is these invasive wars, and they're just trying to stay there. And this MOU does not allow them to do that. And so it puts Israel in a position where Israel has to surrender its sovereignty because for the U.S. to surrender and end the war, the U.S. has to force Israel to surrender its sovereignty and become vulnerable. And so Israel internally now is having all sorts of civil unrest, with every politician saying, wait a minute, we're not a vassal of Donald Trump. We are an independent country. We have to protect our own interests, without recognizing that by saying that, they're going against Trump, who is their who is the lord of and vassal of Israel's a vassal of Donald Trump. And they don't realize that they fight with American weapons and that they have no means to defend themselves otherwise. And of course, Trump told for the third time yesterday that Israel only exists because of him. Yeah, he actually said it blatantly. He says, Israel only exists because of me. If it weren't for me, Donald Trump, Israel wouldn't exist today. I mean, it's delusional beyond what you would even expect Satan to say.
Right.
Gwyneth Paltrow is not my favorite. I mean, she was delightful in the Shakespeare movie that she did. I thought that was really a fun movie on one of the best ever, having fun with that whole narrative. But she's being demonized because she produced an ad, made a deal with somebody in Israel saying, we'll give you his fancy apartment. I guess would be in Tel Aviv, for you to run a commercial on behalf. And so the world is, because it's so anti-Semitic, decides that they want to demonize her for having the audacity to actually say something nice about Israel. You can't be in social media today and have any degree of popularity or reach unless you're grotesquely anti-Semitic. So attacking her is what they are devoted to doing. There must be hundreds of such posts of demeaning Gwyneth Paltrow over all this. Was it Shakespeare in Love? Was that the name of the movie that she was in that was so good?
Oh, you got me on that.
Yeah, I think it's Shakespeare in Love. It's really a cute little movie.
Not my genre, just saying.
Okay. Once upon a time, I saw movies. This one is really obnoxious. This is a C person. They all suffer from grotesque madness. I don't care if it's a MAGA, a Twistian, a Muslim, or a Marxist. There is a virus that has absolutely robbed people of their ability to be moral, to be thoughtful, to understand history. And her thing is, can you imagine what would happen if a Muslim nation had 2.3 million Jews locked in a cage? You piece of shit. You have no concept of what Gaza was. That Gaza was a better living environment than the Muslims had in Egypt or in Jordan or in Syria. And that it was funded by billions and billions and billions of dollars so that the Muslims there had all of the niceties without having to work for them. And that they took everything, including water lines, and turned them into rockets. And they took the donations for concrete in hospitals and turned them into terrorist war centers. That's what they did. And by the way, there were millions of Jews in the Arab world, and they were caged up. And they were also caged up in the Christian world. So what you protest that did not happen in Gaza. And the only reason that Gaza couldn't expand is because the big wall in Gaza, the big cage, the big cage was on the Egyptian side, not on the Israeli side. The Israeli side was so feeble that 6,000 Muslims were able to scamper through in tenny rompers.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get into Gaza. They didn't get into Sinai, though, because that's a damn big wall, and it's 3 layers thick. And every place those little children went, they were exiled because they were so horrendous. That culture is so menacing. They had to be expelled from every Muslim country. And they're there only to be belligerent to Israel. And Israelis went from 2 to 3 million people in Islamic countries in 1948 to essentially zero. Total apartheid. And even while they were there, they were subject to apartheid. They were locked up in ghettos. And while Jews were in Europe, little white face, pale face, they were locked up in shuttles and ghettos and then abused by the Christians. What you condemn Israel of, you have done. The world has gone absolutely mad, and the lies are so pervasive, and twits like this promote them so often that you become a influencer if you can parrot the same racial slurs.
Mm-hmm. And call it a moral compass right there at the bottom. Our branding.
What a piece of shit. Yeah. Muslim bigotry. Muslim bigotry is read the damn Quran. Look what happened in those 55 Islamic majority countries. You want to know what bigotry is? Read them. Read what happened in the first 100 years of Islam with the rapes and the murders and the plunder. You want to know what bigotry is? Yeah. Wake up. Get your head out of your tush.
And this woman wouldn't last 5 minutes anywhere in the Muslim world without security or money. She wouldn't. Yep. I mean, she'd be enslaved. She'd be.
Yep. Yeah. You know what they do with white women in Saudi Arabia? They bring them in as models, or what they do with the workers from around the world and all of the Arab Muslim fiefdoms. They steal their passports. They torture them. They abuse them. They treat them like slaves. And if you're a woman, they don't even let you live. Once you're used, you are killed and disposed of. But don't worry about Muslim bigotry, sweetheart. Nah.
You want to skip down to the MOU?
Yeah, let's do it. No, you can read it. It'll be there. All right.
Okay.
This is the actual MOU. We need people want to know what it was that the dumpster agreed to. Here we go. First, you need to know that this was released by Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
Trump was doing everything he could to hide the actual agreement because he either hasn't read the agreement or he wants to lie about the agreement. And it's harder to lie about the agreement when the agreement is in front of people, like him saying that there's no $300 million given to the Iranians.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he says that this stops their nuclear program. It doesn't. So the Saudis were given a copy of it. Israel wasn't. Saudis were.
Huh.
Israel now has a copy of it, courtesy of Saudi Arabia. This is the actual agreement. This is the agreement that has been signed. It reads, Points of the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU. 1, 14 points. This is not a paraphrase of them. This isn't a fake media report on them. This is exactly what it reads as it was electronically signed by Donald Trump. 1, Iran and the U.S. declare an immediate and permanent end to the war on all fronts, including Lebanon, and will not launch any hostile action against each other and will refrain from the threat or the use of force against each other. First sentence.
Donald's done.
First sentence, death to Israel. That this is the end to the war on all fronts, including Lebanon. And you might say, hey, man, Israel wasn't a party to this, and Iran doesn't control Lebanon. So how is that binding? Because Israel bombed Iran, because Israel did this twice, because Israel was up to their eyeballs in attacking Iran. And Iran won, and the world's about to go bankrupt because of the stupidity of the Israeli plan that thought they were going to get regime change and thought they were going to destroy Iran's nuclear program, and Israel lost. You lose, you have to deal with the terms that are imposed upon you. Israel, you lost. You should never have done what you did. I begged you not to do what you did, but you did it. And when you do something stupid, there are consequences. You did this thing, this is the consequence. You can no longer defend yourself anywhere, not in Gaza, not in Syria, not in Lebanon. And Lebanon was listed here first because Israelis are occupying Lebanon, southern Lebanon, and they're bombing Lebanon, and now they can't do it. They have to leave. And if they don't leave, then they're isolated by the United States, which was the only country that hadn't already isolated them. And boycotted by the world, isolated by the world, you can't survive as a country today. It's over. Israel, you were played. This is the consequence of that. We told you it was going to happen, and now it has happened, and we're giving you the only way out. But right there in the first sentence, Israel, you're done. Iran owns you. You got played. Iran owns you. Second is they know Trump. It's a violation of this agreement for Trump to threaten force, not just to deploy Trump. Now, what do you think the odds are that Trump, when he hears that, well, you gave everything away here, you lost the war, you surrendered, and you think that Trump is not going to threaten force? Right. He has no control of his tongue. No. He's going to be in violation of this instantly. And then the Iranians will have all manner of additional leverage on him. 2, the two countries will respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity and refrain from interfering in each other's internal affairs. That is one-sided. Iran never involved itself in invasion of the United States, of trying to take U.S. territory or regime change in the United States. But that's all that America has done for the last 50 years.
They can't even get a soccer team into the United States. How can the Iranians interfere in anything in the United States?
Yes. This is strictly to say CIA and America stop with the regime change, stop interfering with Iranian internal affairs. Just like the first point, with the inclusion of Lebanon and with the inclusion of threats and force, it is entirely a dictatorial surrender point perpetrated by Iran towards the U.S. So number one is the U.S. is surrendering. We're not going to use force anymore. We can't even threaten force anymore. And the only ally the U.S. has left in the world is now vulnerable and isolated and essentially destroyed. And number two, the U.S. can't use its favorite tactic, which is regime change. Number three, there will be a negotiation to reach final agreement with a maximum period of 60 days, extendable by mutual consent. So this is an agreement on the points that it makes, but there will also be a final agreement on the unresolved issues. Number three. That's number three. Number four, immediately, not contingent. You're familiar with the word immediately? Immediately upon the signing of this memorandum of understanding. You see the parenthetical there? Which has already happened. It was signed electronically by Trump and by Vance. So immediately upon the signing of this memorandum of understanding, which is past tense, the U.S. will lift its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz and prevent any interference against Iranian shipping. Traffic is to be restored within a maximum of 30 days to its full capacity and shall be proportional to the pre-war volume on the part of, what is that word there? I made my glasses. I'm not seeing it good. What is that word? Oh, Iran. So the Strait of Hormuz is going to be managed by
Iran.
What's that word again?
Iran.
Iran. Oh, it is that word.
This is kind of reading like a surrender document.
The U.S. will also withdraw its forces from the surrounding areas within 30 days. Does it say that Iran has to withdraw its forces from the Strait of Hormuz?
Nope.
Who is governing the Strait of Hormuz according to point 4?
Iran.
Does it say that the Iranians will not charge fees, insurance, good guy environmental contributions, charities? Does it say that, is there any limit on what Iran can do in the Strait of Hormuz here?
Nope.
Not a one.
Nope. Other than they're going to make it possible for there to be the same number of ships, which is in their best interest, but under Iranian control, without any constraints on how they go about doing it or any removal of any military assets Iran has in the Strait of Hormuz, other than mines. Right? That is total and complete surrender there. And the U.S. will also withdraw its forces from the surrounding areas. Would you say that UAE was a surrounding area?
I would.
Oh,
yeah. How about Saudi Arabia?
Yes, sir.
Kuwait? Qatar?
Omar? Oh, bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, goodbye, America.
Yeah, we're done.
When you surrender, you have to retreat. Goodbye, America. You're done. That's stunning. Number 4 is absolutely stunning, that the U.S. is conceding control of the Strait of Hormuz to Iran, removing its blockade, removing its entire military force from the area, and that Iran remains in control without any language whatsoever about fees or taxes or tolls or nothing.
Sounds like Versailles.
Oh my God. Yeah, it does. Sounds like Versailles. Number 5, Iran will immediately take steps. By the way, we're doing something that Trump is incapable of doing.
Speaking correctly.
Reading the document.
We're reading the document. Yes. I've spent 25 years of my life recognizing that words matter. 5, Iran will immediately take steps to ensure that the movement of merchant ships from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and vice versa is resumed within 30 days to the pre-war volume, taking into account the need for the removal of technical obstacles and the neutralization of mines. Who is going to be responsible for the movement of ships through the Persian Gulf? What was that country that is now responsible for doing that? Pardon? It might be Iran. It doesn't say Saudi Arabia there, does it? Doesn't say Qatar there. It doesn't say UAE there, does it? Doesn't say Kuwait, and doesn't say the U.S. or any U.S. ally. It doesn't say Israel. It says Iran is going to manage the Strait of Hormuz. Total capitulation of Donald Trump. This is a surrender document.
Good.
Yeah, it gets worse. Number 6, together with regional partners, the U.S., that would be the United States, right? Will create a comprehensive plan to rehabilitate and assist in the economic development of Iran. It will also ensure financing. The U.S. will also ensure financing of at least $300 billion.
Yeah, we don't care where you get the money, guys.
Yeah, it says Trump says that number's not. I'm pretty much sure that's what that says there. I learned to read in the 2nd grade. I'm quasi-literate.
Yeah, man.
It's talking about the U.S. will create the comprehensive plan to rehabilitate and assist in the economic development of Iran. That's what happens if you surrender, if you destroy a country and you lose the war. And this is Versailles, as you said. This is Versailles. This is why World War III, while World War II happened, this is Versailles. And the United States will ensure, guarantee, fund the financing of at least $300 million. The implementation mechanism of this plan, as part of the final agreement, will be formulated within 60 days. The implementation of this plan, but the funding of it is immediate. The U.S. is committing to a $300,000 fund, and the U.S. providing the money, and then humiliating the Arab fiefdoms around Iran to make them participate in the orchestration of that $300 billion inside of Iran, so that Iran can humiliate the Arab fiefdoms while robbing the United States of $300 billion. Do you see anything in this that says the Iranians must do A, B, C, or D?
Not at all.
They have to remove some mines.
Contingent on anything. Well, no, that's an earlier point.
Oh, okay. All right. Not this
one. But for this fund, is this fund contingent on anything from Iran?
No.
No.
They made one big mistake, though.
What's
They're
that?
asking for dollars. They should ask for gold.
Well, they should have asked. Yes. Okay. Well, that's probably true. So the U.S. is on the hook to create a comprehensive plan and then ensure the financing of $300 billion. The only thing that is to be worked out is the implementation mechanism of the plan, not the amount of the plan, not how much Israel the United States has to contribute to it. Just the implementation mechanism is all that has to be worked out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
at least is on the hook for $300 million.
At the minimum, at least.
At least, without anything coming from Iran as a result of it. Number 7, the U.S. will commit to ending all types of sanctions currently facing Iran, including resolutions with the United Nations Security Council, the Board of Governors of the International Atomic Energy Agency, and all unilateral U.S. sanctions, both primary and secondary. The U.S. has committed. Committed is a pretty strong word.
Mm-hmm.
To ending all types of sanctions. Now imagine that. Iran has survived on selling oil to the likes of China at sharply discounted rates because of U.S. sanctions. And now all U.S. sanctions have to be removed. And Iran was able to develop its nuclear program by inventing its own centrifuges. And they developed their own drone program and missile program by developing their own components, although they had some Chinese help along the way. And now there will be no sanctions on Iran. Can you imagine the weaponry they can develop without any sanctions? And all of that money, It's no wonder why the prophets say that it's Iran that is the source of the jihadists and the great Alaska flood 2.0 that will be taking place over the next 7 years. It's all from Iran. No kidding. Guess who? Yeah, and no wonder why this 18th chapter of Yeshayahu condemns the United States for aiding and abetting the destruction of Israel. The United States is funding the great jihad that will take place from Iran to Israel. Number 8, Iran. This is the first thing that Iran has committed to do. That isn't what Iran wants to do, which is to control the Strait. This is the first thing that is from Iran. This is the one place that they are capitulating. But let's read the words very clearly. Iran reiterates. Now, reiterates is important because what he's trying to say is, you didn't even win this point. We have consistently reiterated that we're not building a bomb. Mm-hmm. So what they're saying is, this takes us right back to where we were before the war. So every one of these points is a surrender to Iran, and this point that you want so badly takes us back to where we were before you attacked us. Iran reiterates that it will never produce nuclear weapons. With the fate of enriched material and all other mutually agreed nuclear-related issues, including Iran's nuclear needs, being addressed in a final agreement. Now, does it say here that Iran can't accept a nuclear bomb from North Korea?
Or in the print.
Or from Russia? Or from China?
I think they already did.
Mm-hmm.
God.
So,
yeah.
Does it say here that Iran can't trade its enriched uranium for a nuclear warhead from,
somebody forgot to put that in.
North Korea? Yeah, maybe he forgot to put that in.
Yeah, what a deal maker.
And oh, by the way, Iran doesn't need a nuclear bomb. America is moving their military out of the region.
Yeah.
Israel has been destroyed by this agreement. So Israel's completely neutered. The U.S. is leaving the area. They are in control of the Strait of Hormuz, and they are in complete control of the Arab fiefdom surrounding them. Why would they need a nuclear weapon?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have the best drones and missiles money can buy. And they're going to have a 4 million man army capable of destroying Israel or killing Jews. They want to capture Israel. Why would they need a nuclear bomb? They have no value to have one. So they can easily say, we won't develop one. Mm-hmm. And Trump can have his win. And Israel is destroyed. And the region comes under Iranian control. Number 9, pending a follow agreement. Now, this is the only one that's pending. You know, this says pending. Well, there is the negotiation of what's going to happen on the fate of Iran's enriched material and all other Iranian nuclear needs is going to be discussed later, after all the money has changed hands and that sort of thing. And Israel has been isolated and demonized and controlled. But this is now the first thing that is pending. Okay, all of this other is done. Pending a final agreement, they will maintain the status quo. Iran will maintain the status quo on its nuclear program, and the United States will not impose any new sanctions on Iran or strengthen its forces in the region. What do you think the status quo is with a nation that has at least 40 known sites where they're enriching uranium and have their own uranium mines that are in full operation, and 40 sites buried underground where they're enriching uranium? So what do you think status quo means under those circumstances?
It means to keep it all, keep going.
Drill, baby, drill.
Yeah.
Drill, baby, drill. Baby, drill. Yeah. Spend, baby, spend. That's what that means.
Good.
And is there any statement in here that says that that the Iranians agreed to allow Americans to come in and neutralize Iran's enriched uranium, or destroy it, or take it back to a lower physical purity? Anything? Any hint of it? No.
No.
All right. So number 10, we're going to have to move up a little bit because your hat is in the way of
my big
this.
head.
So we'll move it up just a little bit more. There we go. Number 10. The United States Treasury Department will issue waivers for exports of Iranian crude oil, petrochemicals, products and their derivatives, and related services, including banking, insurance, and transportation, and the like. In other words, thank you very much. We get to control the U.S. Treasury. It's now ours. You lost the war and all. Number 11, frozen or restricted funds and assets of the Islamic Republic, of which there's known to be between 25 and 28 billion that the U.S. stole. 3 billion has already been released, but it's all been committed to be released through UAE. Will be released and made fully available. These funds, whether held in the master account or transferred, will be used for any final beneficiary payment determined by the Central Bank of Iran. Our money, you're going to give it back to us, all of it. Whether it's 25 billion or 28 billion, you return all of it. And it will be fully available for Iranian use. The U.S. will also issue all permits and licenses on this basis. This is total and complete surrender. This is absolute capitulation. Number 12, a mechanism will be established to oversee successful implementation of future commitments to the final agreement. Doesn't say anything. Everything up there is already binding. It's done. Upon receipt of assurances regarding the commencement of implication of Articles 4, 5, 10, and 11, Iran will enter into negotiations for a final agreement solely with respect to the remaining articles. So what that says is all that matters in this agreement is the absolute assurance by the United States of the 300 billion, of the 25 billion, of the U.S. leaving the area militarily and lifting all sanctions. Only when all of that is done, and there's an absolute ironclad commitment by the United States to do that, then we'll agree to discuss the one point that was left open: Iran's nuclear development. Stunning, isn't it?
Indeed.
Wow.
I like the part where a mechanism will be established to oversee successful implementation. I mean, that seems to me like that is something that, hey, we're going to have our big brother and our cousin over here, Daddy Russia and China, make sure that the United States holds up their end on this deal. And so the money will go through them. They will be the ones overseeing that the United States does X, Y, and Z. Will be the arbiters of deciding whether these things are implemented correctly.
Yeah, but who would have thought? I mean, here is the former Ayatollah that Trump's saying we had no interest in regime change, and yet he murdered him. And murdered most of the existing government, only to find out that the other government was more hardline than the government that you killed. And he's holding up as puppets Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. Who would have thought that Iran, playing puppeteer with Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis, would play Israel to its demise, so that Israel can no longer defend itself and has no ally in the world. Totally isolated, totally defenseless, and at the same time cause the U.S. Army, U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force, and the U.S. government to surrender to them.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of this, how astounding that is, that the United States has such incompetent leadership, as does Israel, that they allowed Iran manipulating Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. And by the way, that first one's really not true. Hamas is a project of Qatar, not of Iran.
Right.
That they allowed Netanyahu and Donald Trump put themselves in a position where their countries were destroyed and their militaries were completely neutered by Iran. And who could have saw that coming? I mean, I begged Israel not to do this and told Israel, this is going to be the consequence. You're going to commit suicide if you do this. There is no way to prevail. Everything that's going to materialize as a result of this is going to be destructive to Israel. Don't do this thing. And to see it play out this way, where Iran literally controls the use of the Israeli military, such that Hezbollah and the Houthis can do whatever they want to do, build as many drones and missiles and rockets as they wish. And Iran now has $325 billion and released from all sanctions of all kinds to build up its force so that it can invade Israel with just 4% of Iranians participating, and yet will be the largest army to ever march.
And they did it defensively. They defeated the United States defensively. They didn't
strategically, economically.
They never left their borders.
Opinion. Yes. Well, they did with their missiles, but Iran played Trump and Netanyahu into total capitulation. Now, I don't care about the United States, so that doesn't bother me what the MAGAs have done, and the fact that the Marxists of the Democrat Party are incapable of dealing with him, and total incompetence on their part. So the destruction of the U.S. is something we've known for a long time. The prophet spoke of it. And the prophet spoke of this being the worst time in the history of Israel, that the 2 out of 3 Jews are going to die. There's going to be this horrendous war that's going to be brought by Iran, and it's going to be fought both from the sky and from the ground. And it goes into great detail about what's going to happen. And we knew when it was going to start and how it was going to play out. But as much as we were on this 2 years in advance with tremendous specificity, to see it in writing to this extent is still staggering. The scope of the destruction of Israel in this document is breathtaking. I'm sorry, Israel, but you got played. You were played by Hamas, where Hamas did this horrible thing to you. And they knew that if they bludgeoned you badly enough that you wouldn't be able to control yourself and that you would go in and destroy Gaza. And they already had all their operatives all around the world ready to accuse you of genocide when you destroyed Gaza, and you did that thing. And it doesn't matter that the population of Gaza actually increased, or that you're not an apartheid state, you're not a colonializer, and that the Fakistanians don't exist. It's all a lie. You played right into their hands. And so doing, you isolated yourself from the world, became the most hated nation on earth. You did this to yourselves, and then you got played by the Iranians, such that your military is neutered, such that you're completely isolated. You did this to yourselves, Israel. There is only one hope, Israel, and I have been delivering this message to you now for 2 years as it relates to this particular set of circumstances. I've been delivering this message to you for 25 years now. And there is one option for you. Return to Yahuwah. This is the most recent book that I've published. It's called The Time of Trouble. It takes you through exactly what's going to happen over the next 7 years. This is the Time of Trouble. It started on September 22nd of this year, of May 22nd of this year on Yahuwah. It will last 7 years and 4 months. It will conclude on Teruah, a day that you don't even recognize, September 23rd and 24th of 2033, which is year 6,000 Yah. Maimonides lied to you about that one too. He lied to you about Rosh Hashanah as well. He lied to you about who the red heifer is. He lied to you about the Nakar. But I'm not. I'm going to tell you what your prophets had to tell you and why you need to have listened, because you're in a really terrible position. 2 out of every 3 Jews are going to die over the next 7 years. Israel is going to be all but destroyed. You're going to have 2 people that stand up for you. And I'm one of the 2. And you're not listening to me now. And by the time you get a remnant that does listen to me, most of you are going to be dead. The answer is Yahuwah. It all starts with you having erased his name from your name, from your country, estranging yourself from him and pretending that there's a Hashem out there that likes you. No, Yahuwah despises you. And he loves you at the same time. He loves you for what you could be. He despises you for what you are. And you did this to yourselves. You're the ones who erased his name. You're the ones who overwrote his Torah with your Talmud. You're the ones who chose Judaism and Jew over Yahuwd and Bereth. You did this to yourselves. You've been obnoxious. And now the game is over. And I don't know what it would take to wake you up other than what I've just read. But your government just played you for fools and committed suicide. That's where we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're obviously floundering. I mean, they're with all the opposition coming out against Netanyahu very vocally. You know, they're floundering. They need to.
But Israel doesn't have a replacement. You listen to all of the other voices. They want to be belligerent too. That we're an independent country. We're not a vassal. We can't be controlled. We have to defend ourselves. They're all saying the same thing, and that's you've got played into a position where you can no longer say those things because you only have one nation that has covered your behind at the United Nations in terms of the Fakistanian state being carved right out of your heart, so you're completely indefensible. And now every nation on earth is going to boycott you. And now every nation on earth is going to hate you. And you're completely isolated. You're demonized. No matter what happens to you, the Marxists, the Muslims, the MAGAs, the Twistians, they're all going to applaud. You did this to yourselves. You put yourself in this position. Listen, I understand the Muslims have been horrible to you. It's why I wrote Goddamn Religion, but you wouldn't even read it. I understand that the Christians have been horrible to you. It's why I wrote Twistianity, disproving the whole notion of a Mr. Christ. And so you'd understand the anti-Semitic nature of that religion, but you'd rather embrace it. You'd like to pretend like there's Judeo-Christian values. There's no such thing. You want to pretend like Christians love you. No. Their New Testament despises you. It condemns you. It robs you. And you have no clue about these religions that you created and how hostile they are to you, and that you cannot survive them, and that your only hope is to return to Yahowah. But that's the name you erased. You won't even say it. You don't even know that Dode is the returning king and Messiah and the Son of God. You spit in God's face. And now you've got no one to turn to. And this guy that's telling you what you've done to yourselves, he is your only trustworthy advocate.
Yeah.
So now what? Go to yadayah.com. If you're an Israeli, you're a person who operates under the misnomer that there's a thing called a Jew, go to yadayah.com. Yada means to know in Hebrew. Yahweh is the familial form of Yahweh's name. You can also go to yadayahwah.com, which is the proper pronunciation of Yahweh's name. It's 4 vowels. That's how the vowels are pronounced. Yahweh. So go to yadayah.com. Currently 35 books sitting on the shelf. They're all free. 1,000, maybe 1,500 hours of vlogs. They're all free. Searches of the translations that I've done, searches of the Dead Sea Scrolls are there, glossaries are there, grammar explanations are there, timeline is there so you know exactly where you are in these events. We're even singing songs to you so that you can know who you are, where you are in all of this, trying to reach you not only mentally but emotionally. There's a whole community there. And we exist to awaken you from your stupor, because you've been in the stupor for 3,450 years. If you actually read the Torah, you were obnoxious from day one. You were obnoxious all the time, not some of the time, not a little bit, totally and completely irascible.
Yeah.
So you need to read what the Torah actually says and resolve it. Return to Yahweh so he can return to you. That is the answer. And now you've got to know that you have no other answer. Your government betrayed you. Judaism is complete betrayal of what it means to be Yahuwd, what it means to be Yisra'el. Marxism is a complete and total betrayal. The IDF has failed miserably and now can't even be used. And you're surrounded by 2 billion people who hate you that want to destroy you. And there's another 2.5 billion people that are part of a religion that has demonized you and robbed you of everything, including your Messiah. So you're in a real pickle, Israel. And there's only one answer. Yahweh. And you're going to find him at yadayah.com. Come to know him. Go there. Make a difference. Well, we have some lighthearted moments today and some angry moments, some emotional moments, and some times that was just a real awakening. Reading the memorandum of understanding has to be like a shock to the system of the world. I knew, because I was following it, I knew that was what's going to be on it. But I had still thought that even in its weakened position, Israel and the United States would be able to come up with a document that at least had something that was reasonable. And I would chide Iran for one thing. When you negotiate a deal that is this one-sided, now I understand that Israel and America attacked you, and I understand this is a surrender document. But when you do what is equivalent to the Treaty of Versailles, which is what this is, you invite war.
Yeah.
You pushed it too far.
Yeah, this is not a peace agreement by any means. This is not a peace agreement. Yeah.
This is the Treaty of Versailles that is inviting the next war.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But keep in mind, that's what they want.
Yeah.
They're committed to it, and the prophets tell us it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
This is the liaison to the next war. The war that counts for us because it's going to be fought in Israel. This is the liaison to that. But can you imagine when MBS finally releases a statement on this, what Saudi Arabia's official position is going to be? The United States withdrawing from the area, forcing them to rebuild
Iran,
enriching Iran so that it can have unlimited supply of drones and missiles. And I mean, can you even imagine that Iran now controls the Strait?
Mm-hmm. That's the big one.
Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's if you're Mikey, you're being MBS. He calls him Mikey because she knew him when he was a snot-nosed kid. Everything that you had positioned, gone.
Mm-hmm.
Gone. The world as we knew it 4 months ago is gone. Never have it back again. There is no way out of this, Israel, if that's what you're wondering. You could vote Netanyahu out of power. It's not going to change anything.
Mm-hmm.
Tali can't change it. None of the politicians can change it. Le Pen can't change it. You don't have another option. You'd have to completely isolate, quarantine, stop paying for, stop listening to, don't even allow the votes of the ultra-Orthodox. You have to preclude them voting and preclude all money going to them. They don't serve. They don't contribute. They're a parasite on the country. The only you can do on that circumstance is to remove their ability to vote and to remove all monies to them. Let's see how long that parasite can exist feeding on itself.
Mm.
And then you have to get rid of this government. And you don't have a government to go to. And you've got a parliamentary system, which is a government of bribes. And you have no constitution. You don't have a way to settle disputes. And you're a nation that's a house of cards that's divided. And the Marxists in Tel Aviv would rather march and celebrate their sexual peculiarity. That isn't going to help either. And the Marxist Jews in America would just as soon spit at Israel as they would support Israel. And without Israel, we're going right back to another Holocaust.
Mm-hmm. Nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. So that's where we are. Brings me no pleasure in saying it, but the fact is I told you so. Mm-hmm. And I've been telling you so for the last 25 years. Same message. At some point, you're going to start listening. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Captain Kirk, it's always great to see you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Very much.
Kirk and I have been friends for 20 some odd years. Yeah. A meaningless part of my life because I'm 6,000 years old, but
well, I came at the good part at the end.
Otherwise, from this life, I've known you ever since this life had any meaning. So that's a long time. Kevin, always thank you for doing this. I know it's a sober message. I'm glad you were prepared. You knew exactly what we're going to cover and contributed to it. And I thank you for that. And thank you, Rich, for producing this program. We'll be with you later this afternoon, hopefully from the Ocean Studio, but if not, from the Rainbow Studio. And we'll continue with our series on the luminaries. Thank you for listening. Good day.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. That was Fetch. Gotta run now. Catch y'all on our next podcast.